What's going on, guys? In today's video we're going to be looking at how to stamp any logo, whether it be your logo or a custom logo, into Substance Painter. And the ways to do it is going to depend on 1, the color of the logo, and 2, the texture that you want the logo to be. Now I'll explain very briefly. If you have a logo with all one color, you could either have the material be the same material as the layers underneath it, or number 2, you can have that specific logo be a completely different material. Now if you have a logo which has multiple different colors, we're going to show you exactly how to do that as well. Okay, so we're going to find some logos. I have a few logos that I want to stamp, and that's going to be Adidas and it's going to be off-white. However, I want some variety, so I'm going to type in logos just to give us a little bit of inspiration. Oh no, not in web search please, images. Okay, straight away. Burger King, we'll do Burger King. We might do Google. What else is there? BMW. Okay, cool. Starbucks. Okay, Starbucks, BMW, Burger King, Adidas, Off-White. Those are 5. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is as follows. Find a logo that you want. So we've already decided we want Adidas. Type in Adidas and find the PNG. So you want a PNG file, ideally. Ideally, we want one with a transparent background. If not, we could just get rid of the background ourselves. Not that much of an issue. This is taking way too long to load. This one looks good. Okay, so I found one and I'm going to create a new folder and save that within that folder, so it's just way easier for us in terms of organization. Burger King. There was a Burger King logo. There was a Starbucks. Come on, hurry up! Okay, great, this one worked. I'm trying to find as much variety as possible because we want logos that aren't necessarily just a flat color, and I'll explain why very soon. Now that we've downloaded all of our logos, the next step is to convert it into an alpha. So this will enable us to essentially put it into Substance Painter and stamp it onto whatever closed mesh that we want. So we're going to go into Affinity Photo or Photoshop. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. The process is relatively the same, so I'm just going to show you. Let's get started. Also, if you don't have Affinity Photo or Photoshop, you can download like a trial for either or, like I'm doing now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a layer with the resolution of 2048 by 2048. We want it to be a square, ideally. Create, bang. Now we're going to navigate to wherever we've saved the logos and drag it in. Okay, so the first logo we're going to go with is, bam, Adidas or Adidas. Adidas. Which way do you say it? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is scale it up, but don't scale it up too big, and I'll tell you why later on in the video. We'll go over that. But scale it up, not too big, not too small, just enough. And then what we're going to do is position it somewhere in the middle, select onto the layer of your logo, and then somehow we're going to need to make the logo itself all white. Now you can choose whatever method you want. You can use the paint bucket tool and click onto each of the different parts of the logo if you want. The most efficient way that I found is color overlay. So in Affinity Photo, the way to do it is if you go to effects, you scroll down and it says color overlay. If you click onto that, you can change the color of the whole object. In Photoshop, it's a similar story. All you need to do is right click onto your layer, go to blending options, scroll down, it says color overlay, and it's the exact same process. Once we've done that and our logo is all white, the next step is as follows. We need to create a new layer. So the layer's at the bottom here. You can add a pixel layer. I'm going to drag that down to the bottom and I'm going to select black. Find the flood tool or the paint bucket tool, bang. And just like that, we have a black and white image. So essentially how this is going to work is in Substance Painter, it's going to use it as a sort of stencil, and it's going to get rid of whatever is black and keep whatever is white. That's why it's important that we have whatever logo we have, make sure that logo is all white and the background is black. Now you're going to see why I said it's going to be a bit tricky for logos that are in color. There's a very quick and simple workaround for that. So before I forget, when you're exporting these, export these out as a PNG file and save it into a new folder called alphas. Okay, so now we have this off-white logo and we've encountered one of our first problems. And that is, what if we have an image which says it's a PNG with a transparent background and it's not? No problem. All you need to do is find, if you're on Photoshop, it's called the background eraser tool. If you're on Affinity Photo, you find the flood erase tool. And this will enable you to completely get rid of the background if you just click onto it. Perfect. So this is all the logos that we'll do right now for just a flat color. We'll come back later for the other logos like Burger King, Starbucks, which have multiple different colors. Okay, so now that we've done all of that, I'll see you in Substance Painter. Now that we're in Substance Painter, I've assumed that you brought in whatever your clothes are, you've baked all the mesh maps. If you don't know how to do that, check my other video out. And now you're at this step. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little texture onto the jacket. So say we're going to get a rough, a basic fabric rough material. And I'm just going to scale this down so it doesn't look crazy. Okay, perfect. Now we want to bring in our logos. So what do? So now we go into where we saved our alphas, and all we need to do is drag it onto our shelf of Substance Painter. So click, drag, this window will pop up. It will say, okay, so something's been added. What do you want it to be? So at the right hand side, instead of it being undefined, change it to alpha. And this is important. You can import your resources to anywhere you want. I'm going to import it into my shelf just so I have it all the time. Now, now is the fun part. Now remember the beginning of the video I spoke about there's two ways to work with flat colors. One, you can do it so it has the same material and texture as the layers underneath it. Or two, you can do it so it has a completely different material. So firstly, we're going to go over the first one, which has the same material as the textures underneath it. So to do that, what we're going to do is as followed. Go down here and find where you see this paintbrush tool. You're going to click that and it's going to add a paint layer. Once you've done that, navigate to wherever you saved your alpha, double click onto it. And then as you can see, we have our brush, and our brush has the stencil and alpha that we have on it. So I can press Control and use the mouse wheel to scroll in and out. This will zoom it. Or you can right click and you can see all of the parameters that you can see in your properties in Paint. See if you wanted to rotate the angle a little bit, change the stroke opacity, etc. You can do so. And then all you need to do is click, bang. You have your logo. Of course, you may need to position it, rotate it accordingly, make it look good, put it anywhere in your scene. And that's the first way. But there's a few problems with this. Firstly, if you wanted to change the color, you can change the base color down here, but you won't actually see it until you restamp. That's the first problem. It's the exact same thing if you want to change the material, whether it's metallic or roughness. You will not be able to see it until you restamp onto your mesh and your item. That's the first problem. The second problem is it carries the same material as the layers underneath it. That might not be a problem for some, but for some people it will be. So I'm going to show you the second method of doing it. So I'm going to delete this layer, and next we're just going to add any material that you want. So I'm going to go to my materials. I'm going to type in gold, gold pure. I'm going to drag that in, and you can see it's covered my whole mesh, and I don't really want this to be covering the whole mesh. So what do? We add a black mask. So there's two ways to do it. The first way is navigate to here and go add black mask, or you can right click on that specific layer and add a black mask too. Once you've done that, you can see that if you start drawing, it will only draw the new material. You see where I'm going with this? So the next thing you need to do is go to your alphas or whatever you saved and click onto your logo, scale it up, bang. And now we have it in the gold material, which we had before, which is sensational. Now, if I go down to the gold material here and I click on the first layer, I can control all of the parameters of the first layer. So if I wanted to change the gold with the same texture of gold but a different color, I can actually manipulate it, and you can see it working in real time, which is in fact, let's change this fabric. Yeah, that's way better. Now, I know you're probably thinking, okay, great. Well, what if I make a mistake? What if I just stamp and all of a sudden, oh no, I've made multiple copies? Okay, so you can Control Z, of course, or if you right click, since this is an alpha, everything which is white is being shown, everything which is black is being taken away, which means if we scroll down and go to grayscale and change this to black, you can actually click to get rid or whatever you painted. Just a fun thing to know. So here we have Adidas. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other flat logos that we have. In fact, whilst we're doing another logo, I'm going to show you the final way. Remember I spoke about not being able to see the changes in real time? There's actually another way to do it without using a new material. So what you need to do is add a fill layer this time, and then again create a black mask. Find the alpha that you want. So go down to alphas, find the alpha that you want. I'm going to use off-white, and then stamp it onto your object. I'm going to go now not to the alpha, the mask layer. I'm going to go down to the left layer here, and you can see if I change it, you can actually see it's being manipulated in real time. And you're using the material which is underneath. So if you wanted to use the material that's underneath but see the changes in real time and not change the material, this is the method you'd use. Now you're thinking this is all well and good, but this is all logos that have one single color. Well, my friends, I am very glad you said that, because now I'm going to show you what you could do for logos that have multiple different colors. Because if you were to do the exact same method that we just done, for example on Starbucks, the whole layer is just going to be one big white circle, and that's not what we want. So how to work with logos which have color in it. It's actually quite simple. It's the same process. So again, make it so it's black and white. Select your logo, color overlay, make it white, make the background black, and again save this as an alpha. So file, export, or save as PNG and title it Starbucks Alpha. The difference though is what we're actually going to do is take off color overlay once we've saved it, get rid of the backgrounds, and just save this as a normal PNG. But this time title it Starbucks Texture, right? Now we're going to go back into Substance Painter and drag both the texture and the alpha back into the shelf. Now the window is going to pop up again, but you've got two objects here. One is an alpha, one is the texture. So title it accordingly. Change this so this is an alpha, this is a texture, import it. Okay, so now that we've imported them both into our scene, I'm going to show you exactly how to stamp it onto any of our meshes or our clothes. So what we're going to do is we're going to click a paint layer. So find the paintbrush tool, press onto it, add a paint layer, and then scroll until you see where it says base color and drag the texture, which is the color version, onto the base color. And then scroll up till you see where it says an alpha and drag the alpha texture onto the alpha. Now, if I go to the object and I stamp it, you can see we've got a Starbucks coat, which, you know, to each their own. Might be a little bit weird, to be honest. If I saw Starbucks employee wearing this, I'd be like, oh, that's fresh. Fun fact, I don't like tea and I don't like coffee, but you know, you get the point. So I'm going to do this exact same thing with the other textures that we have. I'm going to create a new paint layer, drag the alpha to the alpha, go to base color and change the base color to the texture. And just like that, we've got a Burger King jacket. Now this is the process that I use when I want to stamp on any type of logos whatsoever. As you can see, it actually looks, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd wear it. I'm not going to lie to you, I'd wear it. Let me know in the comments below if you'd wear a Burger King, you know, jacket or a Starbucks jacket. I think it works pretty well. I actually think it works pretty well. Now I'm just going to show you the Adidas one and then show you the quick settings to export it into Blender and my render settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Export Textures. This window is going to pop up. I'm going to immediately go to Output Templates and change it to Unreal Engine SSS Packed. Go down to Settings, change the size to 4K because we're going to make it a 4K texture, and then save it to your folder of choice. And I'll see you in Blender. Welcome to Blender. First things first, I'm going to import my clothes mesh into Blender. So for me, it's an OBJ file. I'm going to do that real quick. It's absolutely huge, so I'm just going to scale it down. That works fine for me. I also need to unwrap my UVs, but if you want to know the actual complete workflow, I have another video coming soon, or it might already be out. Check the description. So I'm going to go to UV editing, select my mesh, go into edit modes, UV, smart UV project, press OK. Now I'm going to go to shading because I've got Node Wrangler enabled. I just need to click onto my principled node, click Control Shift and T, and then navigate to wherever I saved the texture. I'm going to select all of the materials and click Principled Texture Setup. And this will automatically create the node setup for me. And as you can see, we have our logo directly in Blender on our clothes and it looks so good. So good. But we're not done. Let me show you how I set up my scene. So you could just leave it here. You could go to the world settings, change the color to white, and then we have this, which is kind of cool. We can flip it around. Yep, that looks good. Or if you have my startup file, link in the description, I've built in an actual studio which has the lights, it has the backdrop, it has everything, so you could use that as well. So it's completely up to you. Depends on your preference, what you want it to look like, whether you want to manipulate the lights or not. If not, simply just add a area light to the right side, change the background to white, and you are pretty much yep, that looks pretty legit to me. I'm liking how that looks. Look at that. Even the light is just shining on it. It's bouncing off it. Perfect. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please share, subscribe, comment, like. If you found it useful, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't find it useful, I apologize. Send me a dislike. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video, guys. Peace.